I hope you didn't miss it, but the Christmas tree lighting was done over the weekend on Saturday night, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful. Great show, great music, great time, and even the wind died down, so it wasn't ridiculously cold like it was during the day. Also Sunday night, we celebrated the first night of Hanukkah with the menorah lighting again across the street on the green. I want to make everyone aware of our last centennial event, which is going to be a Sinatra tribute on December the 12th from 2 to 4, West Haven High School Auditorium. This will be closing out, I hate to say that word, but closing the West Haven Centennial Celebration. I think it's been a wonderful, wonderful year. Beth Sabo and everyone who was on that committee has done a wonderful job. I can't think of anything we could have done better, quite frankly. So I think it was an excellent, excellent year. Now these are events coming up. Allentown tree lighting is December the 10th. It will be between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. on the Allentown Green. Of course, Santa and Mrs. Claus will be there. And then also, we're going to have an annual breakfast with Santa on Sunday, December the 19th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at CELO, or most people know it as the IA. The West Haven Italian American Civic Association is hosting that event. So I hope these are events that everyone can attend or tell their family as well. I'm looking at, and I check with you, Chris, because we usually set the thing right in the beginning, because otherwise we forget, at January 18th or 19th for the next town hall meeting. It'll be not quite 2 months. I think that's kind of what we've been doing. Does that work for you? Do you have one preference over the other?
If we could potentially do it a week later so the students are in town,
okay.
that might be helpful.
Do you want to just skip through and let me, because I don't think I have anything. Let me take a look at my phone though, because that's the way I'll know if I don't have anything.
We can push the date out a little bit later though, if you'd like. Maybe what we can do is we can turn it over to our moderator, Allison, and then she can kind of go over some initial stuff.
Okay,
We can take a look
that'd
at
be
that
great.
while we're doing that.
So let me get out of your way.
Allison?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our 6th West Haven Town Hall of 2021, and excitingly, our first town hall in person since the beginning of the COVID pandemic. This town hall is meant to give fellow Westies the chance to hear from and engage with Mayor Rossi on current issues impacting the West Haven community. Having these discussions and facilitating transparency is really important in creating a community of trust between the government and the people. With that being said, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Allison Marr, and I will be your moderator. I am a sophomore at the University of New Haven, majoring in International Affairs. Additionally, I'd like to give a quick shout out and thank you to the Mayor Advisory Commission members and our advisor, Dr. Chris Haynes, who have worked very hard to organize this event. If you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now, before we start, there's a few other things I'd like to cover. First is the ground rules for the town hall. We will be taking audience questions either verbally by lining up here in front of the podium on the X's along the floor, or by using the index cards that were passed out at the door. All questions should relate to West Haven issues and must use appropriate language. Regarding the questions, I will alternate between pre-submitted questions, in-person questions, and questions from the Facebook Live. Dr. Haynes will be timing our questions. Each questioner will have 60 seconds to ask their question, and Dr. Haynes will signal 10 seconds left with 2 taps of his gavel. These measures are in place not only in the interest of time, but to be fair to everyone who is asking their questions. We ask that Mayor Rossi be asked to answer all questions interrupted. If you choose to do so, you may ask one 15-second follow-up question when she is done. Please maintain decorum and keep questions respectful. Finally, I'd like to thank Mayor Rossi for being here tonight to engage with our fellow Westies. Mayor Rossi is the 12th and first female mayor of West Haven. She has served as mayor since December 2017 and is just re-elected, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Mayor Rossi.
Okay. Again, good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay? Because the mask. All right. I did my intro already. Does anybody have a question from the audience, or do you want Chris to go to Facebook Live?
I think we should go to pre-submitted questions first.
Oh, pre-submitted?
Go
Okay.
ahead and alternate. I'll leave it up to the moderator though. But we did want to announce that the next town hall will be on February 1st. It's Tuesday, February 1st at 6 p.m. here in the Harriet North Room on the 2nd floor of City Hall. So everyone put that in your calendars. know it's a little cold today, it might be cold on that day,
Yeah.
but we definitely encourage you to come by February 1st. It's a Tuesday at 6 p.m. I want to thank the mayor and the commission for that. So I'll turn it over to Allison to start the questions.
Yeah, so our first question is a pre-submitted question. What are your top 3 priorities going into your 3rd term as mayor? How do you intend on pursuing them? Please be specific.
Top 3 priorities. Well, I always want to maintain our finances and do well with that. So, number 1, continue what we've been doing with the finances to build the general fund balance. I think that that is very, very important. So if we do have an emergency, we have somewhere to go. We would hope that we can still continue to build it, but we want to use it wisely if there ever is an emergency. Otherwise, we wouldn't use it at all. So the finances, balanced budgets, anything to do with that is extremely important. We've worked very hard. We have a fund balance for the first time in many, many years, and as everyone knows, the financial condition of the city was on the verge of bankruptcy when I got in. So that's one of the first things. Second thing that I want to do is obviously continue increasing economic development. We've been very, very fortunate in that we have had a lot of interest now in economic development. As most know, there was a vote to continue to go into negotiations with the brewery at the last city council meeting. I think that that's a very, very important step. And then eventually they will get to P&Z once the contract is negotiated. There are other interests now. We have the project with Beach Street that everyone has been talking about. That, too, is going to continue to go forward. And I do want to dispense the rumor that's out there that the money was taken back. It was not taken back. I think they would have given me a letter. I mean, that was the rumor of this past couple of weeks, that the money was taken back. So we're still looking forward to doing that. So economic development is very, very important. And the other thing we have to look at is staffing at City Hall to make sure we have the best and the brightest in all the positions, which is one thing I prided myself on doing. We have gone forward. We're not hiring any of my family or anything at all like that. We are putting up a job description that has qualifications. The person has to have the qualifications, has to pass a rigorous interview process before they will be hired. We have hired quite a few people in all different walks, whether it's the lowest one or the highest one, commissioners as such. We have a new personnel director. I don't know how many people have gotten to meet her, but we do have a new personnel director that's doing a fabulous job, as is everyone else that's been working together as a team. So those would be my top 3.
Perfect. Do we have any audience member questions at this time? If not, I'll take another pre-submitted question. Since the investigation into the CARES Act spending began, what actions have you taken to make sure that this or something similar does not happen again?
Okay, so one of the actions that I put out there to begin with is that any voucher over $5,000 would have to come to my office. This is going to be reviewed and approved either by myself or my designee, Louis Esposito. This is a temporary action until we get the results of the forensic audit and we know exactly what happened and what their directives are, because they're doing a real deep dive into that to find out. We don't want anything to ever happen like this again. And so the only way we're going to stop it is to have good internal controls that everyone must follow. That is extremely, extremely important, because this should not happen. We don't want to lose any money, whether it's CARES Act, ARPA money, the tax money, budgetary money, whatever it is. We don't want to lose it, especially through an embezzlement scheme like this one.
Perfect. There was a question that's pre-submitted about the Frank Sinatra tribute band. The question was, how do you get tickets, and what is the charge for them if there is one?
I don't know if there is a charge, because when I looked it up online, no one said anything about a charge for it. We can find out, but it is at West Haven High School on the 12th, which is a Sunday from 2 to 4. So I can check with Beth Sabo, and we can put that up online, because when I read the online, I don't know why I don't think there's a charge, but I don't want to say that, because then if they show up and there is a charge, there'll be a problem. So I would, we'll defer, and we will get that information up on the website if there is a charge, or I will have Mike Walsh change the article to state that there is no charge for this.
Perfect. We do have a question about public safety. Is it possible to keep the stop signs up on the corner of Campbell Avenue and Captain Thomas Boulevard? Traffic is so much better there now.
Well, that's a funny one because I have half the people I talk to thinking it's great to do that, and then I have half the people yelling, when are you going to get it fixed? So that's a tough one. I tend to go with the ones that don't want the light back. I think the traffic flows better there. Maybe if they did something like the Rotary that is down Baybrook. But either or, that is something that the police department will make a decision on. As much as I can, say what I'd like, they're the enforcers of, the streets, the laws, and all of that. So the problem is, my understanding is to get the equipment, that they need because of, the pandemic and all that's going on and how back-ordered a lot of things are. But the intent, as far as I am aware, is still to fix it back the way that it was.
Perfect, thank you. With the New England Brewing Company relocating to West Haven, what plans are being made to keep the Savin Rock Museum from being broken up and spread throughout the brewing company's building? It would be a shame to lose the museum. That was a
well, I understand that. The thing is that I believe the brewing company will do something to incorporate it. We are very early on in the process, so I'm not going to make any guesses as to what it is. I know that they were very much in favor of keeping it, whether it's to put it throughout. It's memorabilia. It will remind people, especially people who lived here years and years ago, that may come back now to have a beer, or I think they serve wine. Wine. They would, I'm sure, like to see the memorabilia. So no final decisions have been made on that. And again, this is stuff that belongs to the city. So the city will have a seat at the table as to what happens to this.
Could you please provide us with an update on the Havens Mall? Is there a specific date set for resuming construction?
The Haven Mall, I'm actually through a woman that came to the last city council meeting, and she had several questions, which I wrote down most of them. The problem is a lot of it Lee Tiernan has knowledge of, some of it I do. So I am preparing those questions, and the trouble is Lee has been busy with the hearing, and we'll be back in court on Friday again. So he has been unable to do this as well. But I want to do, because in other words, I feel the questions that this woman asked from the audience that night were questions that everybody would probably ask, or at least want the answer to if they didn't think of the question to ask. So we will be getting the answers as soon as I can sit down with Lee and have some time to go over it. I mean, I know that the interlocal agreement was done. I know there was a negotiation, it's a contract, if you will, between the two parties. That much I know that was done. Have they reached an agreement yet? No, I don't know that yet. They were still working out terms. So again, as soon as, and hopefully it's only going to be another week or so, we will be able to get the answers, and then I can put them online, because once I have the answers, I'll give them to everybody.
Perfect, thank you. What is this administration doing to rebuild trust with the public and the state and federal governments?
Well, the first thing we're going to do is put internal controls in place to make sure it doesn't happen, give people comfort level. And then we just have to be moving forward in a positive way. Trust is not going to be gained back overnight. It's going to take time. I realize that, and I hope the residents all realize that. It's like any other kind of relationship you have. If you breach trust in any way, whether you're responsible or not, the problem is that people got upset and got hurt, and money was involved on top of it, money that we sorely needed in this city. So we're going to do our absolute best with being very transparent. We have some processes that we're looking at, that I was looking at actually discussing with Mike Last and Ken Carney, that hopefully will not only build back trust, but give people assurance that this is going to be 100% transparent with any projects that go forward, with any money that goes forward.
I have another pre-submitted question. Why is the city considering tax breaks for businesses that may employ only a dozen workers? There is no guarantee that they would be West Haven citizens.
Now, tax breaks, did you say?
Yes, that is what my question says.
Now, what tax breaks are they talking about? In other words, are they talking about an abatement? I don't understand. This is business taxes, or?
I just have the question in front of me.
Because I don't know what tax breaks they're looking to give at this point in time. I mean, as far as I know, the only tax breaks we can give is like abatement. They can do that. But other than that, there are no tax breaks. Now, they may be talking about state taxes. That I don't know, because again, there could be, different things, with income limits and things you can apply for. And right now, none of the ARPA money has been spent. I want to reiterate that again. None of the ARPA money has been spent. It's sitting in an account drawing interest. And there's one thing I do want to just interject while I say that when I asked the finance director to put it in the account, at that point in time, I knew it would draw interest, but I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to spend that money, if there was going to be, requirements on it. And when that gentleman from CCM came to speak, I was very happy to hear that we can spend the interest money. However, it has to be spent in the same way that the ARPA funds are spent. So I thought that that was great because we have $9.1 million drawing interest since the first day it got in. So whatever rate they're paying, whether it's 0.5% or 1%, it'll give us additional money to assist the residents of West Haven and the businesses of West Haven.
Speaking of ARPA, what are your plans for spending the ARPA funds, and what are your top priorities?
Well, I can tell you my top priority. I don't know if it, because the process is, I will bring forward a plan, but then the city council will look at it, and they will have a public hearing or two, or as many as they so desire, and then they'll make any changes to the plan. But my biggest ask, one of the things that I think is important, it's not my only ask, but the biggest ask is the Arts Center. I'm a firm believer in that, and when that gentleman came from CCM, he did say this would be a use of the ARPA money, which I was very happy to hear. I think that that is going to be a catalyst. We need something to bring people downtown, be looking to invest in downtown, and again, without something big to get them here, it may end up the way it is, and I want to see it change. So I'm very, very hopeful that the council will agree with me when we present that. We already put an RFP out because there was money in the account to start working on the plans for it. I know that they got quite a few RFP submissions back to it, so I'm hoping there's interest in it, and it seems like there is. But I do believe that that's a big deal there. I'm talking about, I'm not talking like a lot of people think when I say art center, that it's going to be like have pictures and stuff like that. I mean, there could be an art show there one day, but I'm looking more for live performances, and I keep equating it to Bridgeport's Cabaret, something to that effect, to bring people in. So then they stop to get something to eat or drink, whatever afterwards, maybe go sit on our green, whatever happens. But I think we need the catalyst, and I think that that's the catalyst for us.
Could you please give us an update on the situation with the MARB and their recent actions with regard to city finances, especially in light of the recent scandal? What are the implications for the city and its residents?
You're talking about MARB?
Yes, MARB.
Municipal Accountability Review Board. Yes. So we are working with them. I just submitted a plan actually before I came here of initiatives with Munis training, HR, and I'm trying to think, and IT. And so we are moving forward with that. In fact, we do have a meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock, except we're the last ones to go, so it won't be at 10 o'clock for us, but it will be 10 o'clock. I don't know who goes first, whether it is Hartford or Sprague, but we're number 3. So again, we're doing our best to work with them. I know people get frustrated sometimes and all of that, but the training, especially the Munis training, the hardest thing with that is, and that's a computer program, is that they couldn't come here. They wouldn't come here because of the pandemic still going on. So it's very hard to train somebody with a computer screen, and I know the finance director has mentioned that several times. So what's happened is a core group of people have been trained, and now they're going to train others. So there's going to be a hands-on experience. So I think that that's going to help very much to get this initiative met and move on so everybody knows how to use the operating system.
Perfect, thank you. How else could the city capitalize on the momentum created by the relocation of New England Brewing Company to West Haven?
Well, I think that's going to capitalize on a lot of momentum. I think you're going to see a lot of foot traffic down there, a lot of interest in area restaurants that otherwise may not have had as many people there. I think it will bring people from far away, and they said hundreds of thousands of people in the first year will come through here because of that. I think it's a big deal. We're going to do everything we can to properly facilitate this business. We want to see it come. The council, I believe it was an overwhelming full vote. Everybody voted for it. The audience was overwhelmingly in support of it. So I think that we've made the first hurdle, and we're going to continue on because I think this is a good project. I've liked it from the first time that I've seen it laid out, and I think it's important that we follow through with something like this that will bring people into our city, that will spend money here, come back, come to our shore, come to our restaurants. Maybe if they don't live here, possibly buy a house here or rent a house here. So I think it has all kinds of future pluses, and I do definitely want to see it go forward, as did the council and the audience that was here that night.
Perfect, thank you. How could ordinary Westies like me get involved to help move the city forward?
Well, the first thing, anyone can intern in my office, as you we like the interns. The interns have been very, very good. But that being said, you can send in a resume, and we can find a board and commission or commission for you. There are a lot of vacancies. Everyone questions that, why aren't they filled? It's interesting because there's a lot of people who want to be on a board or commission. But then when you ask for the resume and fill out the form, the ethics form, I don't get them a lot of times. So, I'll reach out once or twice, but again, if it's something you really want to do, I always think that you'll give the resume and fill out the proper paperwork. So I am looking for people, boards and commissions. We have quite a few. I know that Ruth in my office, she has a copy of them, and you can see the expiration date. But just so everyone knows, just because some members have expired, unless they've absolutely resigned, they serve until a replacement it comes forward. So they can serve and be expired too on the boards and commissions.
Perfect. Here's a question from Facebook Live. They must have just joined and they missed it. The first time it was asked can you repeat do you have an update on the Havens?
On the Haven. Again, we're going to put 10, I'll keep this brief, 10, probably it was about 8 to 10 questions a woman from the audience asked at the city council meeting. And I told her we would get back to her with the answers, and I've been in touch through email with her as well. I explained the situation with Corporation Counsel that he's tied up with might as well call it a trial, because that's what it seems like to me. And as soon as he's finished, that will be, a top priority to get these answers, and then we'll put them up that everyone can see the answers.
Perfect. Do you have any information on the upcoming inauguration ceremony?
The upcoming inauguration ceremony, well, it has to be the first Sunday in December. That's per our charter, and it's held at high noon. I always think of the Wild Wild West when that it's at high noon. And we have, council people that are going to be inaugurated. We have the whole ticket, if you will, Board of Ed. Who else? Board of Assessment Appeals, treasurer, mayor, treasurer, tax collector, and city clerk. So I think I hit all of them. And then all the city council members, all the Board of Ed members, and Board of Assessment Appeal. And it's going to be, everyone is invited. And there's actually, they have the food service from the Board of Ed will provide like a little luncheon afterwards. It's always very good in the cafeteria. And it begins at 12 o'clock. It usually doesn't last longer than an hour. It's about an hour. And it will be at the West Haven High School auditorium.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I don't have any more questions at this time, but if you have anything you would like to talk about, now is your chance.
Well, I'm trying to think. I think we've covered well, I do want to talk a little bit about Beach Street. That is one thing we really didn't hit on. So Beach Street, the only way we're going to get development down there is if we raise the road. I've attended several meetings, one most recently that was held right here, and in fact I had it recorded. That being said, there was a lot of back and forth on what people wanted, but there were four engineering firms and then one other firm that was here that night, and that included our engineer. They all agree that the height needs to be 11 feet. So I have instructed the engineer to apply for the permit for the 11 feet. He's in the process of doing that because a deep permit takes a while. The shortest period of time he said it will take is 4 months. More chances are it will be 6 months or longer. So that's why, to continue to wait, I am going to also put together some small meetings like the group wanted, like they wanted to, because they want to talk about reassembling Sandy Point, if you will, because when they raise the road, they're going to have to raise the parking lot. And so I'm all in with their input. They've done a beautiful job down there. I can't thank the volunteers enough. They've done a wonderful job down there. They continue to take care of it, and I think that that's wonderful. I don't want to lose that. There are people that come, we got an award because of that. I mean, it's a gorgeous place. So I think that that's important to work with them to make sure that their wishes are met, with making sure that when we are done, other than it being raised, that the place looks as nice or better than it looks right now.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have a question. Can you please clarify 11 feet? It's 11 feet
Yes.
above sea level, not 11 feet from
Right.
where the road is now. That's going to be really important to a
Yes.
lot.
And Colleen is right. 11 feet above sea level is exactly where it is. And in fact, what I find is a great benchmark too, because I myself was thinking of this huge mountain or whatever. It is the same amount that WPCA, Water Pollution Control, was raised. So yes, you see an incline, but it's not a mountain in front of it. It's not causing rivers on each side, or all the things that people, including myself, I have to tell you, I'm not an engineer. So this is, to think that there's going to be this mountain there, but there's not. That's not what is planned there. It will look similar to WPCA, except it's going to be obviously a much longer stretch of road.
Thank you, everyone, for attending tonight's town hall. Your questions and input are critical if we are to successfully tackle the many issues facing West Haven today. I would like to thank Mayor Nancy Rossi for her commitment to accessibility, transparency, and community engagement by participating in this ongoing series of town hall meetings. Additionally, I want to thank both the UNH Mayor's Advisory Commission Advisor, Dr. Chris Haynes, and my fellow MAC members for both their help in organizing this event. Finally, thank you to all of our volunteers. Without this event would not be possible. Professor Haynes?
Sure. Thank you very much, Allison. Excellent job tonight. Thank you to the mayor for attending tonight. I do want to say and want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everyone. And it's been a long, tumultuous last couple of years, and I really appreciate everything that our students and our city have done, and fellow Westies. I think we can do a lot more moving forward, and I really look forward to a city that can come together again as one, so we can actually build on the momentum that's already here. Thank everyone for getting behind the commission and the city. Let's do that for West Haven, right?
Absolutely. And I'll reiterate what Chris said too. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate, that, just enjoy it. And I hope that, again, this new variant disappears as quick as it appeared, and we can move back on to recovery. Thank you.
I just want to remind everyone that our next town hall will be in person here at the Harriet North Room on February 1st at 6 p.m. We will also have the Facebook Live auction as we had at our other times. I wish you all a very good night. Thank you for coming.